Alright, today we're going to take a break from customs and we're going to look at some Star Pack runs that were recorded in the last week of December. And that week I kind of became obsessed with going for some of the Star Pack RNG runs, you know, going for stuff to do with Orca Pill or also the new Starfruit, which allows you to get perks from tier 5 or 6 randomly, and it can be any perk from any pack. And yeah, there were a few things that I thought could be possible for both of those, especially since we've got some more new pets that the Orca can spawn. Although in this particular run, I don't think I'm going to get any new pets. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, there's going to be 2 runs in this video. This first one, because it was on the replay system, it's going to be quite short. It was played on my phone, I think. Probably a day when it was freezing cold, and so I was sitting in front of the stove instead of playing on the computer. So yeah, we end up, obviously we're going to set up for Starfish. That's normally what I'm doing if I'm going to intend on pilling an Orca, and therefore trying to immediately scale up a unit that you know, is just going to have a 6/6 stat line to begin with. Of course, you can also potentially go Frog. I guess you could do something like scale up a Cassowary and then Frog swap onto the Orca. Maybe I should be trying to mix that up instead of going for Starfish, but Starfish is just so tempting, and it's kind of addictive. Although I do think Starfish is an unbalanced and broken unit in Arena, it is incredibly addictive trying to go for like the ultimate Starfish pivot, where you go from having a terrible team to having a squad of random pets from outside the pack that all have huge stats. Now here, I have to give credit to Legit Taco Vendor for playing Emu. Don't see that very often. Of course, I am playing against all packs. I guess there isn't a way to steal pets from other packs in Star Pack, unlike Puppy, but I do still find that it just makes for more interesting runs, both in terms of you know, different matchups, but also just, you know, facing a wider variety of pets. So to be honest, it kind of feels a bit more like customs, where you're not necessarily sure what you're going to face on the next turn. Honestly, we're not exactly comping our team in order to try and beat something specific anyway. We're just, you know, it's kind of one-player mode where you're trying to set up for Starfish and get such a huge pivot that it doesn't really matter what the opposing teams are going to look like. Although I will mention here that we get matched with another Golden Pack team, MC Ebad. Pretty much my nemesis in Golden Pack. I haven't actually really played much Golden Pack since the update, so probably I need to get back and try and record something there. I think Egyptian Vulture is out, but I don't think they added any new pets in. They moved Secretary Bird to tier 5, although by the signs of things it hasn't really made much difference. Now here on turn 12, we faced this Unicorn Roll team, and I thought this was a loss immediately, especially since the Pepper gets broken by the Manus Knight. But actually, level 3 Platypus spawning 2 9/9s gets us the win. So what do you think we're going to get here? We end up getting an incredible shot with Orca plus Pillbug, and we get Skeleton Dog, Stonefish. Now what can you do with Stonefish that is quite unique in Star Pack? Well, there's a Pelican in shop. Unfortunately, I did roll past the 1 gold Strawberry Jam just a second ago. But what we can do is we can actually play Pelican Stonefish, which I hadn't seen prior to the weekly where you could get the token achievements. And someone was using this as a method of you know, spawning the salmon immediately at start of battle, which was, I thought, very clever. And I'm sure I've already used it in a video to date. But here I get even greedier and go for level 2 Pelican, and somehow I'm expecting to find 2 1 gold Strawberry Jam with the last, I think it was 5 gold I had there. We do luckily get 1 of them. If I'd found 2 here, it actually would be kind of funny because the Skeleton Dog is going to scale the salmon, and the salmon, I don't think the salmon retains the stats from the scaling on the Stonefish. In the end, the Baguette doesn't even get to activate because the Skeleton Dog had higher attack than the Reindeer, but still a pretty funny looking team. And winning with a 3 squad is always pretty fun in my opinion. Yeah, I wonder how long it would be before I would get another Stonefish from an Orca if I kept going for that combo over and over. Alright, now we move on to one of the other runs, and this was another build that I became slightly obsessed by. I recorded many runs, and there will be a couple of clips at the very end of this showing some other runs. But yeah, the premise here was, I think I was watching Rev play a Star Pack versus match, and he got Eggplant from Starfruit. And it hadn't even really occurred to me that you could get the custom only perks from the Starfruit. And so I then became obsessed with trying to play a push team in Star Pack. Generally, you don't see dedicated push teams in Star. You do see one or two. Usually they are going to have pretty heavy scaling on top. But yeah, this is the kind of team that I've done many times in customs before. But the fact that I could now attempt it in Star was very interesting to me. And so that's what we're setting up for here. Of course, in the olden days, it would have been Seahorse instead of Chihuahua. And Iguana sniping the highest health unit is generally not the greatest unless you have Ibex. So of course we have Ibex now instead of just Seahorse and Donkey. The slight complication is you need the Ibex to have a higher attack than the Iguana, I think, to make sure that the stat reduction happens before the Iguana snipes. And actually there are other perks now that can help boost the Iguana's effectiveness. So there's Kiwano, which is a tier 5, so you can also get it from Starfruit. However, I was finding playing this a lot that it's pretty difficult to get 2 specific perks from Starfruit, and it becomes very expensive if you're buying Starfruit over and over again and then having to turn down the perks because you're only looking for 1 or 2 of them. Now, of course, here we are going to go for Starfish again because I happen to have the level 3 Firefly. I can't sell the Chihuahua because it's important for the start of battle push. So I think what I'm going to do is actually, yeah, I'm going to buff up the Firefly next turn to be 10 attack, and then we're going to sell the Firefly to get the triple stats. But I think at that point, we're then just going to get rid of the Starfish. It was pretty rare when I was doing that I would get rid of Starfish. I was usually just greed, even if it meant I was going to lose. But with this type of team, you're trying to win as quickly as you possibly can. We don't really want to go past, turn 13, 14, because then this push synergy just isn't going to have a chance. I guess Fossa could also be used in this. If you have the Chihuahua pull the highest health unit to the front, then Fossa could reduce the stats, but we don't really have any space for Hamster, and since we want specific perks, we don't have space for, we can't really use Sausage either. Now actually there, I think I rolled past Ibex by accident, so yeah, that was almost definitely a mistake there. I'm sure every time I was going for this I had to have Ibex because, looks like here we're going against someone else who was also going for Starfish. But yeah, most of the time, your only chance is to massively reduce the stats on an opposing unit before it gets sniped by the Iguana. So we get the Ibex here. It's going to take a bit of buffing before it's going to be higher attack than the Iguana. There were also some games where when I was setting up for Starfish, I had the level 3 Frog, and then of course the easy thing to do is just swap the stats from the Iguana onto the Ibex, and that kind of takes care of any of those types of issues. There we did end up reducing the stats, although I didn't notice, did the Iguana snipe first or not? I'm pretty sure the Iguana sniped first. So yeah, here we go. We take the Starfruit, we get the Eggplant, which is incredibly fortunate. However, I don't have the other perk. Now, the idea was to have Kiwano on the Iguana, so then the real Velociraptor will give back the Kiwano after the first snipe. Iguana's max damage is only 6, I think, so obviously Kiwano is a 40% improvement there. Correct me if my maths is wrong in the comments. But here we end up winning. Yeah, because it's turn 12, there still aren't any absolutely massive teams. We don't really get any of the things we want. I think I'm probably just going to end up taking Melon on the donkey at the back, just to increase the chances of it surviving and getting 2 pushes off. And I'm just rolling down for Starfruit. We don't find it, unfortunately. There were actually some runs where I did get both, but usually it took too long, and it would just be at a point where I couldn't win no matter what my perk setup was. Another Yeti team, and this time they have the Chimera with very little mana. And of course Iguana does also just snipe units when they're summoned. And we barely scrape the win on turn 13. I kind of wanted to lose there and give myself a chance of finding the Kiwano on the next turn, or getting Ibex to level 2, but yeah, I'll take the win. And then here's a random clip from a Star Pack run where I was going for all Strawberry, and it was actually working out not too bad. Unfortunately, the real Velociraptor isn't going to do much when your units don't have high enough health to survive the first hit. So I don't think it did actually do anything there. It looks like it's greyed out, but I don't think it actually did anything because the units just immediately fainted. And yeah, it ends up being a 1 HP loss. And then lastly, we have another push team, and I get matched with Rev. We're both struggling here on turn 11, 4 trophies, 1 heart. And it looks like I've just completely messed his team up. We've pulled the Spino to the front. We instantly snipe everything because we have level 3 Iguana. But Vulture, yeah, he ends up getting the Viper. I don't think it made any difference in the end. But yeah, that was a really fun run, and I did send that clip to Rev privately at the time because I knew he would appreciate it.